Hey guys, good evening once more and welcome to the big debate, where today we'll be discussing the second semi-finals game between Cameroon and Egypt in the ongoing African Cup of Nations taking place in Cameroon. So this game, which took place in Yaoundé, was described by a lot of pundits as the task, was described by a lot of pundits as a match between Abubakar, who is the current top goal scorer of the tournament, and Mo Salah, who to me and to many, they do believe is the best player in the world. So with me here in the studio today to discuss this game is Maitre Bechem Ebini. Good evening, Maitre, and welcome to the big debate.
Good evening, Dr. T, and thanks for having me today.
It's a pleasure always having you, and thank you for creating the time to join us to discuss the post-match analysis of this game between Cameroon and Egypt. With me again, and our next guest is the legendary True Lion. True Lion is always there. So good evening, True Lion, and welcome to the big debate.
Good evening, Dr. T. Good evening, Metro Bechem. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And so now we will just delve straight into the footballing. So Cameroon has played Egypt several times. These two nations, as you all know, are the dominant nations in African football. Egypt has won the competition 7 times. Cameroon follows next with 5 trophies. So this is how the two managers started the game. So Maitre Bechem, I will start with you. Cameroon made no change from their semi-finals game against Gambia. Egypt made 2 changes. One was a forced change as a result of Hegazi's injury. So you guys, tell me how the two coaches came into play, how they played, and whether they achieved their desired goal. I'll start with you, Maitre Bechem.
Yeah, thank you again, Dr. T. I think Cameroon had the same personnel, but actually, tactically, it looked different. I noticed that Tolo actually did not have that flexibility that he's been having in the past games to go up, give those crosses, or attempt to give those crosses. He was actually asked to play like a third man in that back three, which I said, like I said 2 days ago. And when I saw the lineup that Cameroon presented, they actually played with 3 at the back with Tolo actually sitting. Part of it was because of what Byron has been saying: Mark Mo Salah, Mark Mo Salah, Mark Mo Salah. So with that, Mo Salah actually had little or no space today. Whenever he had the ball, Tolo was there. That gave Cameroon some stability at the midfield. You notice the entire first half, we dominated the game. It was more or less a one-way traffic. Egypt, we won all second balls. Egypt could not really get out and play and feed Mo Salah or the other strikers. So tactically, we had a good game plan. But like I have always said, or like 2 days ago, we are a team that is not set up for difficult games. We've been very fortunate. We played very weak teams. I mean, relatively, we played weak teams, and we've actually come out victorious thinking that, hey, we have a great team. But I saw today a lack of class on the part of the coach, lack of experience, and to me, total nonchalant attitude from the coach. This same team, no, I'm serious. I'm really upset because this coach has haven't had that opportunity to make game-changing substitutions. We saw it today. It was time for him to make a change the game, but what happened? He made those same changes I described as containment changes that you just want to take your good players out and send the players out there to just go kill the game. He made those same changes. Clinton J, Basogo. I mean, like, there was tactically nothing on his part. I was really frustrated. It's unfortunate that I'm ranting, but
you mentioned that Cameroon contained in the midfield. There was midfield dominance in the first half, and it seems as if there is something that True Lion mentioned yesterday. I'm not going to bring it. I will probably talk about the coaching later, but I'll bring in True Lion to tell me what he observed in the game. So, True Lion.
Yeah, I said the coach is too predictable. You guys, coach, he actually lacks creativity. And that was also shown today. He brought in the same players that actually played in previous game because he's not actually creative enough. And just a point of correction. Yes, Bechem, I know that Tolo spent a lot of time defending, but there were not 3 at the back. They played 4 at the back. They played 4 at the back. It was four at the back, and I know that Tolo spent a lot of time defending Mo Salah. Even in the first minute, there was one run, and he actually caught up with Mo
Yeah,
Salah.
with Salah, yeah.
Exactly, and tackled the ball. They created opportunities. I'm not going to act as if they did not create opportunities like in the first half. They did. We saw that opportunity where Ngado, maybe the ball was just a little bit behind him, but it was coming from a corner kick. Cameroon was threatening on the corner kick. Then we also saw that opportunity that hit the bar, also from a corner kick. So there was some opportunities created in the first half, but Cameroon just went completely dead in the second half because, first of all, when there's rain, right, and then when the pitch is wet, it demands a lot of physicality. And I don't know. You saw Egypt changing, bringing in new players, fresh
Yeah.
legs early on.
Egypt made in some early substitution,
Exactly.
especially in the second half.
Trezeguet was going real fast and all that. You saw El Nani also leave, but the Cameroonian coach, it seems as if he has only 11 players. No, like seriously. I mean, we needed creativity because Egypt was not good.
I wouldn't say it seems as if he has only 11 players. This is a coach who, in the first 3 games of this competition, he played these games with different players.
No, but Dr. T, I mean, it's not been convincing. And when he found that maybe he had 3 holding midfielders that he trusted, that's all he's actually played. He's not trying to play something different as I thought at a certain point, because Egypt was not good. Let's be honest. Egypt is not a good team. I've watched them.
Egypt was bad.
I've watched Egypt for 5 games now, going to 6 games. Egypt is not a good team. They sat back and waited for penalties. The same thing they actually did against
Ivory Coast.
Yes, even against Morocco.
Yeah.
So when you have a team like that and you are playing at home, why don't you bring in Choupo-Moting? You take in one of those midfielders. You have somebody like what's his name, Anguissa. Anguissa has been bad the whole tournament. And you keep playing Anguissa. You cannot play Choupo-Moting. Yes, a lot of people even want to criticize Clinton. They want to criticize Bassingop. They didn't have enough time. Bring them 20-25 minutes to the end of the game. You don't bring them 10 minutes and then going to prolongations. Everybody's tired.
So the game was tied at 0-0 in the first half. Cameroon missed some chances there. You mentioned the header from Ngadi, which hit the post. And the follow-up, which eventually rolled out. And then the other ball, which was played a few yards or centimeters behind him, which we call it in colloquial pidgin, Babari the ball, and the goalkeeper had it. Egypt also had one opportunity. I mean, I wouldn't say an opportunity, but there was a run there between this gentleman. It wasn't this gentleman. Between Tolo, the guy that you mentioned, and Mo Salah. Tell me how the kid handled Salah. Yeah. So this is the guy. Yeah. This kid and Salah. So Maitre Bechem, let me start with you.
You mean Tolo, right? You mean Tolo and Salah?
Yes, that's Tolo. Yeah.
No, to be honest, Tolo contains Salah. Salah was missing in action, MIA, as we say, because Tolo actually man-marked Salah, which was a very good idea, because Egypt have a tendency of playing through Salah. So that was a good idea that he man-marked Salah. But if you notice, Tolo, there was actually a ball one-on-one with Tolo and another Egyptian attacker. I felt like he was so carried out, so he invested so much time on Salah that when he faced another player in the 18-meter box, he actually let that player go through.
I think he slipped.
Good cross. Yeah, no. The player passed him. The player had gone past him. Then he decided to fall or what he was doing there.
Yes, but it was gonna be a difficult one because the ball was already in the box. And then it was towards. I think he had also tired legs, so he actually slid.
It was like the last few minutes of extra time.
Exactly. He actually slid, and then fortunately for Cameroon, that ball did not. It was not. The cross was too hard.
That was a goal.
Yeah. Cameroon went on to lose the game, but even before then, I'm saying this now because there is something I want to say, which Cameroon almost shot themselves in their foot, even though they still lost the game. I mean, they probably still shot themselves here in this situation here, and were saved by Onana, like a back pass from Hongla, the Cameroon number 18, which was short, but he was saved here by the keeper.
Yeah, and remember, yeah, it was just one of those moments, and Onana did actually good. I don't think Mo Salah had his actually his best game, because he was actually off. Apart from a shot in the first half where he actually had, and the ball just went centimeters across the over the goalpost. I think Mo Salah had actually a bad game overall, and that's the reason why a good coach should have taken advantage of Egypt. But we do not see that with the coach. The coach is so predictable. He actually lacks ideas, and I've been saying this all through. And those that were actually saying that Cameroon had not played a good team yet were actually right, because one time they play an average, we see just once that they play an average team in Egypt, we see that Cameroon is not actually creative enough.
But you must also, to be fair, you must also give it to the Egyptian defense. They contained the Cameroon strikers.
No, it's because Dr. T, look at Cameroonian goals. Apart from the one when Choupo-Moting was giving those passes, look at the goals that Cameroon has scored. It's either coming from crosses, or Abubakar scored some goals where it was like personal action or the penalties and all that. But have you seen a goal without Choupo-Moting where he actually picks out like spaces and all that? And that's what I was talking about. This is a game where Choupo-Moting could have come and maybe put the Egyptian defense on in a difficult situation.
Some pressure, yeah.
Because look at after the match, why was Abubakar frustrated? Because he was not receiving the right passes.
Yeah,
he was not receiving the right passes.
Yes.
You want Abubakar running at the defense with the ball in his glued to his feet. That's what you want.
Yes.
But
if in big games like this, True Lion, in big games like this, coaches tend to make changes that can game. I realize that our coach is still focused or glued to that whole mentality of position changes. You can change which way the game is going. One of those, take out one midfielder. We were dominating the game. Egypt was sitting back. Take out one midfielder. Bring Choupo-Moting, who can give those 1-2 passes and create space. But he took when he took out for a winger, a central defender for a central, defensive midfielder for a defensive midfielder. I mean, you're not changing the game. You're just changing personnel. Change the game. That's what I've been saying. This guy cannot.
So while many people are out there saying, and I think you guys also mentioned here that the Cameroon coach played in the hands of the Egyptian coach because Egypt didn't have weren't good enough. So Egypt were playing for the penalties. But the changes that Cameroon also made were consistent with someone who was also playing for penalties.
I don't even think Cameroon was playing for penalties. The coach just lacked ideas. He just hoped that something would happen. That's what he was hoping. But he forgot that he's playing against a good team that will not give you like cheap balls, or maybe just give you opportunities, free penalties, like how Burkina Faso did, or just open up your backyard, how Ethiopia did. No, you had to be creative, and he failed to use, because we have one or two players. I said, why don't you put Basingog when the game was 20 minutes to the end, 25 minutes? Put Choupo-Moting, because although some of you will criticize Basingog and all that, that's one of the few players that can hold the ball and actually run towards the defense. I mean, create something, make something happen. Play with three defenders, push Tolo to the midfield, and push also Fai into the midfield. So that they can start from a high position and run towards that Egyptian defense. That's what was lacking, because if you see, most of the times when Cameroon held the ball, what did Egypt do? Egypt had three men on the center circle, and they knew that the Cameroonian defenders were not good enough to carry the ball beyond, run past them. So that's what was happening. So how do you solve such a problem? Just have more men and spread them wide into the midfield so that you can create more passing lanes. But he did not do that. He was there just hoping that something will happen. Manna from heaven.
Okay, being the devil advocate here, while you think that they should pack the midfield, you still have to be cautious of Mo Salah and Trezeguet on the wing, because these guys, they almost caught Cameroon on counter attack in the first half.
But guess what? If you have those wing backs playing from high and attacking all the time, you will force those guys to defend deep, and that's what Egypt do. You force Mo Salah to also fall back.
Yeah.
You know, you have to take that initiative
Yeah.
and push them backwards. That's what you have to do. Because when you bring out somebody like
Dr.
Chopo
T,
that can handle the ball,
Yes.
Dr. T, I know a lot of Cameroonians will say, "Oh, we missed two clear chances and stuff like that." But guess what? I was just telling a friend, those chances came through corner kicks. That tells you that this team cannot create a goal against a difficult team. I
exactly.
mean, you cannot rely solely on set pieces. You cannot rely solely on
But there was
set
that
pieces.
last minute
The
cross
header
there by Nje as well.
said that no, that Nje was abysmal. I don't want to even go there because Nje came in at the right time, a good time that the player can change again. He did not perform. He had one clear chance, which I thought he could have gone in a little bit. He was just this is a striker. He gave an outside pass without even looking. There was no
Bechem,
player there. There was
Bechem,
space for him to attack.
Okay.
Yes.
So you make a very, very good point. There was no player there. So under normal circumstances, he was at the line, almost at the line. Do you expect a player to be there or not?
but Bechem.
No, there was space. There was space for Jay to attack more. You saw what the Egyptian player did when he went past Tolo. He took the ball 1-2 steps. He gave him that opportunity to give a good cross. Jay did not even look. If you look at it, go look again. When he had that ball, he did not look. If he had looked, two players were coming. You just instead of that straight ball, you give the ball, you give a back kick. That way,
Yeah, I agree there. So before Lion comes in, I agree there. He gave a very bad cross, but then the goalkeeper also made a very bad save.
But
and you should be expecting your strikers there.
You guys want to judge Clinton here from?
I'm not judging.
No. I'm just saying that you guys are saying no. I brought this up because you mentioned that most of the Cameroon goals were from corner, but that was a clear chance because the goalkeeper pushed it out. You expect your strikers to be there.
No, Dr. T, that was not a clear chance. Guess what? The strikers were already tired. What are you talking about? You see, most of them were in the midfield when Jay was there by himself. That's why there was nobody in there. That's why there was nobody in there. So I cannot judge Clinton. I don't expect him to run through 3-4 players by himself. No, I'm not gonna blame him for. I'm not gonna blame him for that. What I'm listen, what I'm saying is that had the coach put in those players, make changes 20-25 minutes when other players were still fresh and could play together, that's when you make changes. You don't wait 90 minutes and bring players when the others are already cannot even run. You know.
So actually, that is something I totally agree with you because I was watching the game. I waited 45 minutes at halftime. The Egyptian manager made his first coach. He brought in Trezeguet. 60 minutes. He made 2 changes. He was going to make 3 changes. 70 minutes, the Cameroon coach was still watching.
Exactly.
And then at the 80th minute, that's when around the 80th minute, after that's, at 10 minutes.
Exactly.
You have to be very lucky. Sometimes they say impact substitute, but it's impact with luck.
And guess what? And he brought in a midfielder for midfielder. That's when he brought in Sedeki.
Of course. Like
Sedeki. Then he waited another 6 minutes. Then another 2 minutes before he brought in Basingop to come and do what?
Yeah. So Cameroon went on to lose this game on penalty shootouts. Before we get to the penalty shootout, there is someone I want us to talk a little bit about his overall play for Cameroon and this competition. This gentleman.
Ngamile was for me the best player. Yes, some people will just look at the goals Abubakar scored. I'm not trying to take anything away from him and say that yes, he was the best player in the Cameroonian squad, but I think Ngamile, he was very much consistent throughout. The only time he had an iffy game is the opener game. After that opening game, Ngamile was actually the best player throughout.
Yes, I agree. I noticed during the last game, I said bet for the 2 goals that Toko scored, he was supposed to be man of the match because he actually dictated play. He was the one making us like trying to run here and there, and at the same time trying to the strikers. The likes of Anguissa were just all over the place for me. Very poor in the tournament, despite the fact that he's such a highly rated player. So Ngamile for me is our best player. My hope is that the coach is going to try to build a team. He's still, I don't know how old he is now, but I think the coach can try to build a team around players like him and Toko. We just have to take it. I'm very frustrated. I thought Cameroon was, but it's been a night for us.
But I will say this. I'll say this. Apart from that, we've seen some smaller teams perform good, play good football. I think the bigger teams have actually. Let's see what Senegal does in the final game and all that. But I think the level, especially Cameroon, the level of football has not been convincing enough.
Okay, so I would say for so far for this tournament, I appreciate the work ethic of this guy. He works so hard, Gamelo. So that's why he by the 90th, by the 80th minute, he gets there because he runs all over. He works for all his colleagues. Let me put it that way. For like one French commentator, English commentator said in the past that Ribéry worked so hard for his senior colleague, that is Zidane in the 2006 World Cup. This guy actually works so hard for the likes of Abubakar. He runs like the whole front line. So I think just like you guys said, I go with him like that is my player of the tournament for Cameroon, not taking away anything from the goals that Abubakar scored and Toko. But this guy, he has shown that you need to work so hard to succeed.
Yeah.
But before we end the show today, the man of the competition, the man of the match award went to this Egyptian midfielder. You guys tell me how this guy, in the first half, Cameroon dominated play. But to be fair, in the second half, Egypt came back.
Yeah, I mean there were patches. There were patches of the game, like in the second half, where Egypt actually stabilized the ship, and that's why you see Cameroon was not creating any more
Any chances? Yeah.
opportunities. Yes, exactly. And Cameroon ran out of ideas to be, and I think the players were tired, and I will blame the coach for that because he did not inject enough energy into that team where they can actually change the game.
So at full
Yeah, and
time, game was yeah. Go ahead, Metro Bechem. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I agree with True Lion. Egypt actually contained us. We probably had been carried by the previous games or successes from the previous games, which I believe actually went to the players' heads, and we just couldn't show up to. You saw the comments, or you heard the comments that Abubakar made about Mo Salah not being here, not being Mo Salah, and all of that. To me, those were symptoms of us thinking more than our abilities, and it actually killed us today.
Yeah. Oh, like I always say that to our audience, when Cameroon plays, whether they lose or they win, I am always going to put on my green Cameroon shirt. So today I'm putting on the green. The game went on to end at 90 minutes, 0-0, extra time, 0-0, and it went to the penalty shootout. And the team that showed some composure won the penalty shootout. True Lion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the penalty shootout were actually it was not impressive as if Cameroon did not prepare for it because the way they came out and the way they executed was just like was very bad, and I see why Egypt actually was ready for the penalty kicks because they knew they had a goalkeeper that was experienced enough, and they knew they had the players to execute. So that's why they're into the finals.
Yeah, and so Egypt
I mean,
has
I agree with
progressed to
Lion.
the next
So
round of the competition, which is the finals. The first time Cameroon hosted this competition was in 1972. They lost in the semifinals against the eventual, I believe it was eventual winners, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, you guys, one of you need to correct me
yeah,
because you're probably more up to date than I am. And so the same thing happened, unfortunately, but the third place game will take place on Saturday, and the finals will take place between two current African giants, I would say, between Mane and Salah. So the third place game will take place on Saturday, and then on Sunday the finals will take place. So we will be back here later in the week on Saturday or to discuss the preview of the finals on Sunday. And from here, we wish whoever who plays better, the better team to win the finals. And so I give the last word to you guys before we end the show.
You go ahead, Bechem.
Maitre Bechem.
Okay, so Dr. T, I just want to say I know that I've been I'm really upset with the Cameroon team. I think the guys have tried their best. You cannot push more than the quality that you have, be it from the coaching staff or the players.
Or the
We just
players,
have to
yeah.
congratulate them and just let's wait for the next time. We have a game coming up against Algeria,
Yeah.
which is the World Cup qualifiers. I just hope that they will put this behind them and focus on that because the World Cup is more of a bigger tournament than can. But it is what it is. We just have to accept it and move forward. But I'm not really impressed with the coach. I hope that we start to think about getting a coach that can actually deliver rather than the current coach.
True Lion.
Well, I think those who were saying that Cameroon had not played a team, a good team, were actually right, because today we saw Cameroon that played a team that was disciplined, not not even better than them, but just disciplined, and a team that actually had a plan. And we saw Cameroon come short. And I've been saying this. A lot of guys gave me stick. I've been saying Cameroon doesn't have a coach. I hope they saw today that when the going went off, it was tough for Cameroon. They could not solve the Egyptian problem. So that's it.
Okay, great. It was nice having you guys here. It's unfortunate Cameroon lost, but on penalty shootout, in penalties, as they always say, you never know who wins. But I think the most disciplined team and the team that had more experience and a cool head won the game. And so we wish whoever will win the competition between Senegal and Egypt on Sunday the best. For everyone watching out there, we wish you a fantastic evening and looking forward to having you back here, you gentlemen, on Saturday. And I hope to have you here in the future to preview the Cameroon and Algeria World Cup qualifiers game. I think that's a big one because we need to discuss how these guys be heading to Qatar. For everyone out there, have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank